Next on the agenda, we have Rick Biggerstaff, who's here representing, is actually the chair of the Browns Addition Neighborhood Council. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you.
And do you want to?
Yeah. Is it just
yourself? Right there.
Lovely. Okay. Good evening, President Stuckert. Good evening to you. Good evening, Council. Thanks for making the time tonight to have us here presenting for all of you and the support that you've provided for us. So we had an interesting spring. It started with me, I think I was on a bus heading out to Cheney. I was teaching a class out in Cheney, and I got a phone call from a news station saying, "Hey, Rick, have you found Mrs. Browne's head?" My mind was not thinking about Browne's Addition, so whoa, what's this all about? And my answer was, no, I didn't know it was missing. So it's quite an interesting start to this. It made the news. By the end of the day, all 3 news stations had contacted us, and they'd been to our neighborhood council meeting, and we'd posted things on Facebook and Twitter and everything, and just the compliments to social media, because within 24 hours, we found out we were wrong. And that I was publicly even saying, someone has stolen her head, and no one did steal her head, which is so interesting how we interpret results. In fact, one of our neighbors saw that it was in dire straits and hanging from a limb, or someone might have been vandalizing it, and they took it to save it. And through some social media, she found out that we need it back. And so she learned how she could get it back to us. So with the help of the MAC, Mrs. Browne has her head back. So that was a big event for us, and that's how our spring started. So it was an interesting start. But tonight we want to share some of the celebrations we've had as a neighborhood. There are many, and they're very, very wonderful. On some of the work that we're doing, and of course there's always challenges, and we want to make sure we have a chance to think through our challenges. So to begin with, we were approached by the MAC this spring, and if you might be familiar with their 100 Stories exhibit, and they realized that Browne's Addition is actually part of that 100 Stories because of the historic nature of Browne's Addition. So they came to us and said, "Hey, how would you like to be part of the Mother's Day tour in your neighborhood, part of the tour? And you have some people in your neighborhood that could help us plan it." So we actively worked with the MAC to plan that, put on a great event. We had 5 houses and 1 condominium complex. Just a great event, wonderful weather. They said it's one of the best turnouts they've ever had for Mother's Day. So made for a really great May in Browne's Addition. Hopes you had a chance to be part of that and come by and see some of these historic homes and the beautiful condominium that we have in Browne's Addition. So that was a great start to our spring. We also, as you know, have Art Fest. We work very closely with the MAC in this process. And with the MAC, we get to kind of work out some deals around park permits, so we kind of work together so we can make the whole summer event and the spring events work with the MAC. And they put on Art Fest, and every year it just seems to be growing more and more and more and more.
Rick, sorry to interrupt you, but Art Fest is such a great event. Who's on the hotel, motel, lodging thing? Did they get money this year? Does anybody know?
Art Fest did not apply.
They did not apply.
Well, maybe they did. I'll follow up with you, Councilman Steiner.
I was just curious because it is such a great.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have that in our neighborhood. There was a talk a couple of years ago about maybe moving it downtown. We love downtown, don't take this wrong. But at the same time, we like to see things like this and stay in local neighborhoods as much as possible. Yeah. It brings people into our neighborhood. We get to see other parts of town. They stay downtown. They stay in our neighborhood. There's vendors from all over the Northwest. Montana, Oregon, Idaho, Washington, all over the place. They love it. They come back. And we were very fortunate we had beautiful weather last year, as we will this year in 2015. We're just thinking that right now, so it happens again. So great, great event. And if you didn't make it to it, make sure you come by and see it. It's a wonderful event. Along with that, we have Elk Fest. And credit to the Elk and Marshall Powell, because they work diligently to make this weekend-to-weekend work. For a long time, we had them on the same weekend, and it wasn't working very well. And Marshall Powell stepped up and said, "You know what, let's rethink this." He worked with our neighborhood to see if we could involve another neighborhood activity the following weekend, and the neighborhood supported that, and he's put on Elk Fest now, which brings the young people into our neighborhood. It's a great, joyous event. It seems to go without a lot of incidents, and people come from all over the place to see it. It's a wonderful, energetic opportunity for people to get together, and the Elk just continues to drive the business in Browne's Addition. It's a wonderful, wonderful restaurant. We also have a growing business district. We have Browne's Tavern, who started up again. They had a little trouble the first year, came back and had a stronger outing this last year in 2014. They were rethinking what it might look like in 2015, and we're really pulling for them to continue with that business circle we have around the roundabout. Across the street from the Elk, with our other businesses in that area, also LK, Italian Trattoria. I apologize. I think I said that wrong the first time. Trattoria. We have Pacific Avenue Pizza. We have the cafe, the coffee cafe. And we also have Cannon Coffee and Cone, lots of wonderful places, and it's just growing and growing and growing. And we're also getting more and more participation from them with some of the things that we're doing in our neighborhood. We go to them, we go to Rosars. Rosars helps participate. They provide opportunities for our people to get together and celebrate, and they're there joining us in this celebration. It's really a great opportunity. And we also have Hacienda Las Flores has opened up. If you haven't been there, nice family Mexican restaurants across the street from on the Sunset Boulevard. So stop by and see that sometime. So we just love seeing all the businesses in Browne's Addition grow and grow and grow. Bring people in, lots of activity. We continue to put on wonderful summer concert series. It's a lot of work. This last summer we had 9 concerts that averaged well over 200 people at each concert from all over the place. We asked them, where are you from, Browne's Addition? Yes or no, and we'd like to hear where they're from. It's a great event. We will have another 9 this summer, and our goal is, we've started this, it's been like 15 or 16 years now we've done this. Our goal is to break even if we can possibly pull it off, and sometimes we get pretty close, and sometimes we go the other side of it. It all balances out in the end. But we're always looking for local artists to come and play. They love it. We've already had 3 or 4 contacting us saying, hey, please let us play for you next year. It's a great event for people to get together, showcase our bandstand, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful event, and it's, hopefully you can make it to see some of these also. You know, I want to also point out that Patty Simpson Ward, a local artist, has really worked closely with us as a neighborhood, and she's the artist on the bandstand drawing there, and she was also involved with the Mother's Day tour. Very, very talented, and she's also played a significant role in another one of our groups with Friends of Coeur d'Alene Park. And here are Friends of Coeur d'Alene Park. This is a subcommittee of volunteers in our neighborhood. They've decided they wanted to look at a comprehensive plan for Coeur d'Alene Park and Overlook Park. Along with the city's support, been wonderful support with the city. They've commissioned Bob Scarfo, you can see in the lower right corner, Bob Scarfo, a landscape architect, very, 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 very talented. Tons of experience of working with community and students and looking at environmental ways of bringing parks to where they can be. Brilliant man. We've already had 3 events in which we've gathered public opinion on this situation for our neighborhood. We had a kickoff party in Browne's and Coeur d'Alene Park itself. You can see they're running lemonade stands. They're out making money, doing whatever they can. And some of the things that we're doing, Browne's Addition, is working hard on partnerships. And we see it with our businesses, but in the background in the upper left-hand corner, you see Patsy Clark's. We went to Patsy Clark's 3 different times last year and said, can you help us? And they said yes. And it's just some of the wonderful things that go on in this neighborhood is when our neighborhood reaches to people in the neighborhood, because there's a lot of businesses in the neighborhood. When we go to them, they say yes. And that speaks to some of the partnerships that we're working on. So just kudos to the people at Patsy Clark's for doing that work. This group, one of the chairs I'm married to, Julie, they work diligently. They put in hours and hours and hours in this. You're going to receive a trifold from us. You'll get it in the mail. Thank you, Rod, for helping me with that, because I forgot to bring them. You'll see a trifold of the work that they've been doing and the work that they're planning. Their goal is to take the city's first public park, and bring back some of the historic nature of it and still make it a 21st century park. Make it a safe park, a place where people want to be. Connect that to Overlook Park. So they have a lot of great ideas. We expect the comprehensive plan to be in place by the end of March. We're just looking forward to opportunities to do this work. It's a wonderful, wonderful job. It's been an uplifting part of our neighborhood in the last year, and it continues to be. So really looking forward to that. And also, as we continue to work, I want to mention that we went to Eastern Washington University and talked to Dr. Larry Sabula. He's a public history professor, about helping us with this in addition to Bob Scarfo. And he brought along a master's student who's been actively working with us. And we are in the plans and just about to complete some of the interpretive signs in Overlook Park. So soon, you'll be able to wander down Overlook Park, and some of those beautiful signs that are right here in the city that look over the river, gorgeous. We'll have signs very similar to those out over Overlook Park telling the history of Overlook Park, which is an amazing history. And Dr. Sabula has really helped us learn about those things, so we want to present that to the neighborhood and to the city. So that's going to be happening very, very soon. This committee has applied for 4 different grants. 3 are pending, and 1 has been received. And one of those grants that has been received is helping with the signs. So kudos to this body of people working on this. It's great work. Some of the other things is we have our youth center in All Saints Church is coming along very nicely. We donated some money to that a couple of years ago. I had a chance to go through a tour of it. It's beautiful. It's coming along great. A wonderful, wonderful space right across the street from the park. So we're excited about that. This ties right into some of the traffic calming projects, because just at our last executive committee meeting, we started talking about how we can apply for a traffic calming project to tie into the All Saints Church, because when we have these young kiddos come into our neighborhood, we're thinking deeply about the traffic involved. So we're trying to think about what we can do to help with that situation. So we're looking forward to all the youth coming into our neighborhood. We also had some CDBG dollars used to replace some sidewalks and wheelchair ramps. That was really wonderful work to see that done. And also one of our neighborhood members came to us. You know that Browne's Addition, with the great diversity it has, we're very active with the bus system. We have a lot of people taking the bus, a lot of people. So some of these people they're taking the bus came to us and said, for our CDBG project, we'd really like to think about having a bus shelter in one of the locations that desperately needs one. So our neighborhood got together and supported that. So that's our concurrent proposal for 2015 is another bus shelter in our neighborhood. And then we have challenges. There's a lot of things to celebrate. So hopefully we spend appropriate time talking about that, but we have challenges. Our neighborhood's a wonderful neighborhood. All Saints Church puts on a Tuesday night opportunity for people to come and be fed, who struggle to find food, to find places to sleep. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I've had a couple of opportunities to be there, and to see the looks on their faces when they know there's a place they can go to get a meal it's very endearing. It's something that we need to keep doing in Browne's Addition. We in Browne's Addition have not figured out how to make that as successful as it can be. That's one of our challenges. That, along with other things happening in the city, we're seeing more and more homeless people in our park. It's not just Browne's Addition. We're seeing it everywhere. It's not just Browne's Addition, and we know that. But it does present a challenge that we do face. You see it in the news. There's many, many news video clips about what's happening in Browne's Addition with people in the park. A park with wonderful diversity. We just don't know how to make it all work yet. And it's no one to blame. It's not blaming the city. It's not blaming anyone. It's not blaming the church. People can blame, but that's not it. We just haven't figured out how to make all this work, and we need to figure that out. We alone won't figure it out. We'll figure it out as we work with the city. We'll figure it out as we work with programs. But it's part of our conversation every month when we meet as a neighborhood. When we meet as an executive council, this is what we're talking about. Because of things like this, we are starting a series of meetings once a month outside of our neighborhood council meetings. We felt that our neighborhood council meetings was not the right venue for doing this, but we wanted a chance for people to meet and talk about issues and things going on. And some of those things we're talking about are some of the homeless that's happening in our neighborhood. We had a really tough summer. We have people in our neighborhood who are making nightly walks through the park late at night to try to help, and that's just inappropriate. We can't be doing that. And that's to no one's fault. That's not saying the police aren't doing their job. They're doing a marvelous job. Every time we talk to them, they're there to support us. But we have to think about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So we want to talk about some of these things. Some other things that are on our agenda to talk about is we have situations where we have property owners that want to bring down old homes and bring up apartments. We have that currently in place right now where someone's thinking about doing that along Coeur d'Alene Park. And these raise questions in our neighborhood. And if we don't take the time to sit down and talk together as a neighborhood, then people make decisions about the right information. So our goal in these meetings once a month is to get together, bring people who are informed with information to those meetings and help us understand what's going on, help us understand what we can do, the roles we can play in these projects as a neighborhood, so we can work together and make it, and hopefully have it become a better situation than it is now. So challenges, yep, we can run away from them or we can face them and try to work together. Hopefully we can get together and talk about these and make it a better place. So we love the neighborhood. The diversity there is unparalleled anywhere else. We love it for that. It's a beautiful place to be. We're proud of what we are, what we're trying to do. We know that we're not perfect. We're just working hard to create those partnerships and keep the communication going as best we can. So thank you for your support. I want to say also a special thank you to Heather. Our connection with the city and the city's desire to reach out and talk with neighborhoods is amazing. But Heather's work has been phenomenal. Jonathan Mallahan's phenomenal work, and also Rob and Eric, as you know, you're a gem. You do a great job. And Councilman Stuckert, thank you so much also for your support, for everything you've done for us. So I'll stop with that.
Thank you very much, Rick. Appreciate it. Any questions?
Okay, thank you.